We're live. It is a Wednesday, and I want to talk about what is obviously from a national, probably internet, well, most specifically, an international news situation. The Trump tariffs have formally taken effect this date, and it has obviously lots of economic implications, lots of foreign, domestic implications, not only the economic situation, but far, way above and beyond that, it will affect, obviously, supermarket prices, alcohol prices, lumber, and housing, and all these side elements that will be affected by all this, good or bad. And I'm not necessarily going to take a stand here because that's not what I do. I am going to talk about the fact that the coverage, which is pretty good, I'm talking from a strictly a cable news coverage, and all the cable channels are covering this, obviously, and all the international news agencies like the BBC, like Reuters, like various other publications, networks, radio, television, internet, and the like. This is a huge story. Of course it is. And you have Trump at his press conference going over the various inimitable Trump fashion, which is sometimes comedy genius. And I love him for that. He is entertaining. But that's not the reason why I want to speak to you. This is a big story. And yet, here we are in a major market in San Francisco, which used to be a legitimate foreign bureau outpost where you would have coverage, particularly in stories like this. Folks, we're referred to as the Pacific Rim. Why? Because we have Japan and China and Taiwan and all of those countries in that region who deal with us in a trade capacity in that very moment. In all of this, you would think that we would have somebody who knew the hell what they were talking about at least go investigate, talk to not just business owners. Well, of course, they're going to get impacted. We've heard that for the last couple of months. What I'm talking about is, why do they not send a reporter to the various countries, consulates, talk to business people, talk to financial people in San Francisco? Remember, where all these ships that are from Japan and China and various other locales, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, where we have relationships. Some companies even have their own non-governmental relationships in terms of products. Do something about this. Everybody's talking about this. And no, it's not the hotbed of conversation like who won your bracket, or did the Giants continue their winning streak, or this, that, or the other. But it is a very significant news event. And in that spirit, why not try to be different? I can rhetorically say, I don't think they have anybody within their personnel who can even ask those questions because they simply don't have the people that know what they're doing. I'm ripping them because it's very easy. This is a big to do, folks. And while, yes, technically there's negotiations that could take place between leaders, between economic groups within the governments, like our own government. Trump has even made it apparently known via his press secretary, ain't she a hoot, that last minute deals can happen. But if you watched some, or at least most of the press conference on Wednesday, he very much intimated that deals can still be met because these are very, very, very lengthy, very profound, and very cost pronounced initiatives. And they affect virtually all of our economics. So it's going to have, yes, a direct impact on what I just described: supermarket prices, food prices, liquor, um, agriculture. Even though we actually, most of our agriculture is grown here. But what about Mexico, where we get our fruit for most of the early spring, like we do now? It's a huge story. And this is where I miss on radio KGL or the old KCBS, where they would talk to people and you had a real good, solid substance discussion within the framework of this particular situation. We haven't had a trade war like this in a long time, certainly not in my lifetime. We've had threats, we've had discussions, we've intimated, and I say we, the government's various administrations. We had that big NAFTA agreement, which we thought would be something that would be maintained throughout, but it frankly hasn't. Way, way, way back 25, 30 years ago under the Clinton administration. This is a profound story. And whether you agree or disagree with Trump, this is something to be covered. And it's unfortunate that we have to go beyond network, whether it's television or radio, to get news. And more than just the news, the analysis, a discussion, economics, economists talking about this, landowners, agricultural people, farmers. Go down and speak to the source. And unfortunately, in the Bay Area, we're at the heart and soul of the Pacific Rim. We get, frankly, embarrassing nothing. If at all, we get a very, very stupid, mundane, simplistic geography course. And all they do is send a GSA reporter to wherever, and they just ask the basic questions. And a lot of people, I think, feed off of this, or in this case, don't feed off of it because we don't have any coverage. We have to kind of go beyond local news. Of course, we go to the networks. The networks are a little bit better, but not that much better. Therefore, you really have to search and go on the internet and go to a BBC or Sky or Bloomberg. That's unfortunate because we're not in the middle of the country. We're not in Des Moines. We're not in the Ohio Valley. We're not in the South. We're in California and we're in the Bay Area, where much of this will have a direct impact on all of us, but people noticeably who go to the supermarket, who buy cars, who basically live. But unfortunately, we don't have the coverage that we should be getting. And frankly, it's a total out and out abomination. Quote me.